coming back to the front of the unit before I go on to the main portion of here. Here's where the tape unit would sit at. There's your power switch. It's got all your controls right here in the front. It even plays metal, which is pretty cool. I only got one tape that's metal, and that's the Vanilla Ice tape. It's got the Ice Ice Baby in there. And see, there's your door open, all the buttons for the turntable. I do have all the sliders. I just took them off. I got them in a bag, so there's the radio portion. And here is the main portion of the unit. This first part here, this is the tape deck, of course. There's your power on light here and standby light. I had to replace quite a bit of stuff on here. I still got another thing I got to replace. As you can see right here, I got this piece torn apart. I got the one belt was completely melted on here. The other two were fine. There's actually three. There's that one right there, and plus this rubber tire that's on this gear here. I haven't done anything with it yet, but I used rubbing alcohol to clean them up a little bit. So I got all those restored, and luckily I bought a set of tape belts where I got various sizes. So I got a replacement belt set for it. I still got to clean the wheel here. I still got to clean this off here because it's got that like gunk from the pinch wheel. The pinch wheel is here and started to disintegrate. It started to completely melt. So I'll show that in camera. And it's maybe kind of hard to see with the camera, but you can see it is severely deformed. And it's tarring up. But I got a replacement for this one coming in. Of course, I can only find it in China, of course, but there's no other place I could find it in the U.S. I think that would be considered the amplifier unit for the turntable. There's the radio portion of this. There's the tuning knob on the top, and you have your balance controls, and all those buttons that are sent right there are your selections for tape deck, AM/FM radio, the mic. There's even an auxiliary input, I think there was, and funnel or whatever. There's another portion for speakers. Your speaker goes attached to that. It's kind of a weird plug. And this is the power board. Now, this is the main thing that caused the unit not to work, but this is the one that suffered some damage. The traces on here are not too bad whatsoever. It suffered like very minor damage, mainly over here and this portion of it. Because that plate right there, I cleaned most of the rust off because that thing was almost completely rusted. But I cleaned that up and it came out pretty dang good. No polishing whatsoever, just cleaned up all the rust. I had to replace 2 caps and a resistor on this. You can see this cap right here has been replaced. The original one that was in this spot was like completely gone. And the one in this spot here was starting to bubble, and I didn't really like the way it looked, and I don't know if it was holding its value or any good. So that was replaced. Then the fuse that's down here. Can I get this in focus? That fuse right there was replaced, which I believe that's a 3 amp fuse. This thing runs on like a 2-way circuit according to the manual, where one fuse runs on AC power and the other runs on DC power. So the small fuse that's up here on top of the transformer is probably used for the battery system. Well, for the one that was blown, was used for the plug-in type. And this thing has a variable transformer, since this device here can actually switch between 3 voltage outputs, in case if you wanted to take this thing outside of US and drive around Europe. Which I'm assuming that's why they got it here, so they have a universal, so it can be sold in any country that has different voltages. So, but anyway, yeah. I have to say the most pain in the butt so far working on this is the tape unit. It's a little bit more of a pain to work on this more than the turntable was. The turntable, the only thing I had to deal with is just take that whole entire bracket, which it acts like a support on the back of the turntable main platter here, to lift that up to get the belt on. And the only way to successfully get the belt on there, I have to use Scotch tape, which I use some Scotch tape to hold it in place in one spot, just so I can get the belt on there. And that was just having to deal with one belt. But this thing right here, the tape unit, I have to deal with two. I had to deal with 2 belts because there's a motor on the bottom here. Let's see if I try to remember where it was located. I think it was located somewhere over here. But anyways, 2 belts have to run on that system. So there's a larger belt, and then there's a smaller belt. And the smaller belt was the one that melted. And you have to have them both on, but you have to make sure one goes on first before the other. So, for this thing here, if you're going to work on this, just be careful when you go to replace the belts on this thing. And you're going to need a pair of tweezers or some long forceps to get the belts on here, or you're going to have a real difficulty getting these belts on here. Yes, there's just not enough room to maneuver to get those things on there. And you're going to have to do this while the tape unit and this metal bracket that's sitting on the bottom is almost completely attached. Well, on top of which, you have to watch another piece of part that's on it like a shift. So when this unit goes into like shifting modes, like going to play and stop, it actually engages a part in the back, which engages a lot of stuff in this mechanism here to move. And if that's off, it's not going to work, or it's going to bump into something. So, yeah, make sure you watch that while you're getting those 2 belts on there. And the back of this is held on by like 4 screws, I believe there is. Like I said, it's quite difficult to me. It's the most challenging portion of this. But after I replaced the 2 capacitors and the fuse on this, I did manage to get this thing to power up, which is a major plus for me. So, I'm actually glad that this thing actually managed to power on and it worked. I did not get a chance to test out and see if anything came out of the speakers whatsoever, since the lead on the unit here that has the speakers attached is too short. And even if I was to disconnect it, I won't have enough length to do it. And it's not exactly possible to attach alligator clips to it that's connected to all these speakers to the unit itself, just so I can get audio out of it. There's just no way to connect it. You would have to have like some kind of like the connectors that you would use in one of them plugs that's got the round pin piece in the middle. It's used mainly in like computer parts. So like if you have like a messed up power supply or something. Let's see. Kind of like this right here, but the male version. if you get like a male version of this coming off a power supply, then I could possibly use those, but I don't got any power supplies at this point to destroy. To use as like a connector to jump from here to these to make sure the audio works. So I just gotta wait for those last remaining parts to come in, which is gonna be this roller for this unit here, which the roller sits right there. And sadly, I'm hoping this thing stays together because right on this part right here, which my poor camera can't focus on me for me. There we go. You can see that it's cracked right there. I'm not so sure this happened during manufacturing when they put this thing together or not. But I know when I push the pin through here, it is tight. Through the other side of this here, it's pretty loose. So I'm assuming that they made this a tighter tolerance than the other side. But they must have just forced it or something and it caused it to crack. But it's barely holding. I'll get that back on there because I don't want to lose it. So, once I get those remaining parts, which is going to be the needle for the turntable, which I want to do that before I put this thing back together, and also get that pinch roller in here before I put it back together. Because if I was to put them on there right now, when I put this front face back on, it's going to be nearly impossible to do anything, especially with the tape deck, because there's not going to be any room to work on it while the thing's attached, because all of this is basically going to be almost covered up, and this is going to be like below probably whatever the plastic is going to be in here. So once I get the parts in, I'll add more to this video right here, and I'll add some more details on this, and we'll show it to you when it's fully complete, and hopefully find some music that's not copyrighted. Alrighty, I now have the new pinch roller installed, which took some time for it to get here, but it didn't take as long as I would think it would. Because usually when I go to order stuff overseas, it usually takes like a long time, like about a month or so. But this one actually came in within a couple of weeks, which is pretty good. I like it. Speedy service. So the new is in place with the spring put into its position. So when the thing goes to play, this whole entire mechanism right here will come forward and pinch onto this. The roller's been cleaned. I even went ahead and cleaned the two heads. The play head, which you can see is stereo, and recording head here. This is what the original one looks like. Sorry again without the shadow here. That's the original one. What it looks like after it basically self-destruct itself. And then this is the brand new replacements, which I ordered a pack of 5 of these. I would have used just one because I only need one of these, but I'll save the rest of these just in case if I need to replace another tape deck that's going to use the same size as this. I just have to make sure I write down everything on this, so when I go to, if I run into another pinch wheel about this, well, like this, I can have some of these in my inventory. And also got the new needle in for the turntable. I haven't installed it just yet because I still have the unit out, and I still want to do something with that one piece. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it like that or if I'm going to try to fix it. So, but I'm going to go ahead and install this, and I'll show the end result on that.